1993, a design office in Munich, Germany. Two engineers from Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann are staring at a problem no one has solved. The Cold War is over. The Soviet threat that justified 30-ton tracked monsters has collapsed overnight. NATO armies need vehicles they can fly to the next crisis, deploy in hours, and reconfigure for whatever that crisis turns out to be. An armoured personnel carrier in one country, a command post in the next, a rolling field hospital the week after that. One vehicle, every role, anywhere on Earth. On paper, the idea sounds impossible. In practice, it sounds expensive. In the committee rooms of 3 separate defence ministries, it sounds like both. The vehicle they built would take 15 years to enter service. It would be abandoned by one founding nation, mocked for its price tag across 4 continents, and dismissed by armies that chose cheaper alternatives. It would deploy to one of the most dangerous places on Earth and never fire a single shot. And yet today it serves in Germany, the Netherlands, Lithuania, the United Kingdom, Australia and Qatar. Its most radical variant is being fired in active combat by Ukraine, making it the first member of its family to operate under live threat. 12 nations are now committed to the platform or actively evaluating it. The army that built it is buying a version designed not in Munich, but in Brisbane, Australia, reversing the usual direction of technology transfer in one of the largest armoured vehicle contracts in modern NATO history. Its name is the Boxer, and it may be the most architecturally ambitious armoured vehicle any Western alliance has ever fielded. To understand why the Boxer exists, you need to understand what Western armies believed they needed in the early 1990s. The Gulf War of 1991 had demonstrated something uncomfortable. The United States could field overwhelming tracked armour, but it had taken 6 months to move enough of it to Saudi Arabia to fight. The British sent their challengers by sea. By the time the ground campaign opened, it had cost more to ship the vehicles than to build some of them. Strategists in Bonn, London and Paris looked at that timeline and understood the next crisis would not wait 6 months. The answer was a new category of vehicle. Wheeled, not tracked, fast enough on roads to reach a crisis zone in hours rather than months, protected enough to survive infantry weapons and artillery splinters, and crucially, flexible enough to perform multiple roles without requiring a completely separate vehicle for each one. Germany and France began jointly in 1993. France dropped out in 1999 to pursue its own wheeled vehicle, which became the VBCI. The United Kingdom joined in 1996, aligning its own requirement under the designation MRAV for multi-role armoured vehicle. The Netherlands entered in 2001. The vehicle was formally named the Boxer in December 2002, when the first German prototype rolled out of the ARTEC facility. ARTEC was the joint venture consortium formed by Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann and Rheinmetall Land System of Germany, with Stork PW of the Netherlands. The organisation responsible for managing the programme was Qatar, the Organisation for Joint Armament Cooperation, a European defence procurement body established precisely to prevent the budget overruns and political friction that had killed programmes before. What ARTEC proposed was structurally unlike any armoured vehicle that had come before it. Most military vehicles are built as a single integrated unit. The hull, the engine, the troop compartment, the weapons mount, all welded or bolted into one permanent structure. Changing its role means rebuilding the vehicle. ARTEC's engineers divided the Boxer into 2 completely separate assemblies. The first was the drive module, a self-contained armoured hull containing the engine, the driver's station, the powertrain and the running gear. The second was the mission module, a separate armoured container that sat on top of and behind the drive module, attached at 4 points, and carried whatever the army needed that day. An infantry section, a surgery suite, a command staff, a signals array. The mission module could be lifted off, swapped for a different one, and the vehicle redeployed in a completely different role, officially within less than an hour under field conditions. The drive module is built around a Mercedes-Benz derived MTU 8-cylinder diesel, producing 530 kilowatts, equivalent to 710 brake horsepower, driving all 8 wheels through an Allison automatic transmission. Top speed is 103 km per hour. Range is 1,050 km. The hull is welded high-hardness steel, with composite applique panels manufactured by IBD Deisenroth, providing all-round protection against 14.5mm armour-piercing rounds and artillery fragments at 30 metres. The floor is a layered V-shape designed to deflect mine. An IED blasts away from the crew compartment. Internal surfaces are lined with spool liner to prevent secondary fragmentation injuries. Exact protection levels are officially classified, but the specification meets STANAG 4, 5, 6, 9 Level 4 as a baseline, with the option to upgrade further. The entire package weighs up to 38.5 tons in its heaviest configuration, which means it cannot be carried by a C-130 Hercules. That figure will matter shortly. The mission module catalogue that ARTEC built around this drive platform is extraordinary in its breadth. The baseline armoured personnel carrier module carries 8 infantrymen. An ambulance module carries 7 seated casualties or 3 on stretchers. A command and control module houses a full tactical operations staff. An engineer reconnaissance module deploys a 6-man combat engineering team with specialist equipment. A cargo module carries up to 8 tons of supplies. A driver training module allows familiarization without consuming an operational vehicle. A repair module carries a full battle damage assessment and recovery team. Later additions included a self-propelled 155mm howitzer, an air defense variant mounting a 30mm autocannon against drones and low-flying aircraft, and a bridge-laying system capable of spanning a 14-meter gap at military load class 80. One drive module, a completely different machine depending on what the mission requires. On paper, this was exactly what NATO's post-Cold War strategists had asked for. In practice, it was also exactly the kind of program that committee rooms destroy. The United Kingdom withdrew from the MRAV program on July 17, 2003. Minister of State Adam Ingram delivered the announcement to Parliament. The reasoning was strategic rather than technical. The Boxer, at 30+ tons, could not be carried by C-130 transport aircraft. British operational experience in the Balkans, Sierra Leone, Afghanistan and Iraq had reinforced the need for vehicles that could be airlifted to a crisis zone. The British Army needed something lighter and faster to deploy. The Treasury had already spent approximately £57 million on prototypes and engineering work. That money was written off. The production contract worth approximately £1.15 billion was cancelled. The withdrawal of the United Kingdom increased the per-unit cost for every vehicle Germany and the Netherlands still intended to buy. That is the basic arithmetic of defence procurement. Fixed development costs spread across a smaller production run means a higher price per vehicle for those who remain. It was the beginning of the Boxer's long relationship with the word overpriced. Germany signed its production contract on December 19, 2006, for 272 vehicles. The Netherlands signed for 200. First deliveries to both armies arrived in September 2009. 5 years behind the schedule that had been planned when the first prototype appeared. The German Bundeswehr eventually received 405 Boxers in total across multiple batches, 256 infantry group vehicles, 65 command vehicles, 72 ambulances and 12 driver training vehicles. The second German batch in 2015, 131 vehicles to the A2 standard with improved armour and electronic warfare countermeasures, cost €478 million, implying roughly 3.6 to 5 million euros per vehicle depending on accounting method. In 2011, Germany deployed 5 Boxer A1 vehicles to Camp Marmel in northern Afghanistan, flown in by Antonov and 124 cargo aircraft in late July. Command post variants arrived in February 2012. Ambulance variants followed through the year. German soldiers in Mazar-e-Sharif praised the vehicle's mobility, air conditioning and protection levels. They noted with some frequency that it was the only vehicle in the northern sector equipped with both a boiling vessel and an onboard toilet. The Boxer served in Afghanistan throughout Germany's drawdown and never entered combat. The German deployment in Regional Command North was in a relatively quiet sector, and the vehicle arrived after the peak of insurgent activity. No Boxer in German, Dutch, Lithuanian, British or Australian service has been confirmed as taking enemy fire, hitting a live improvised explosive device, sustaining battle damage or being lost to hostile action in any theatre as of the middle of 2026. The marketing phrase "combat proven" that appears in Rheinmetall's promotional materials rests entirely on presence in a deployment zone rather than on any documented engagement. Now, before we reach the vehicle's most dramatic chapter, if you're finding this program useful, hit subscribe. It takes 3 seconds and it helps the channel produce content like this. The Boxer's story accelerates in 2015, and the acceleration happens not in Europe but in the Southern Hemisphere. Australia's light cavalry had operated the ASLAV, the Australian Light Armoured Vehicle, since the mid-1990s. By 2015, the ASLAV was aging, its protection inadequate against the weapon systems Australian planners expected to encounter in any future high-intensity conflict in the Indo-Pacific region. Project Land 400 Phase 2 was launched in December 2015 to find a replacement. The requirement was not for a simple armoured personnel carrier, it was for a combat reconnaissance vehicle, a wheeled platform capable of independent reconnaissance, with a manned turret, high survivability against sophisticated threats, and the integration potential to carry anti-tank guided weapons in a later block upgrade. 2 contenders were shortlisted in July 2016 for a 12-month risk mitigation activity, Rheinmetall's Boxer, with an Australian-specific configuration, and BAE Systems Australia's Patriot AMV-35. Both vehicles were subjected to trials in Australian desert conditions, in tropical humidity, in cold weather environments. Both were evaluated against a specification that demanded protection levels significantly higher than standard European variants. On March 14, 2018, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, Defence Minister Maurice Payne, and Industry Minister Christopher Pyne announced that Rheinmetall's Boxer had won. The acquisition contract was signed on August 9, 2018, for 211 vehicles at $4.28 billion Australian dollars including tax. Total programme cost, including 30 years of sustainment, was projected at $15.7 billion Australian dollars. Per vehicle, the acquisition cost alone implied roughly $20 million Australian dollars each, a figure that reflected not the standard European armoured personnel carrier variant but a purpose-designed combat reconnaissance vehicle with a manned 2-person turret mounting a 30mm dual-feed auto cannon, a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, and a remote weapon station on the roof. This Australian variant was the first Boxer ever ordered with a manned turret. Every previous customer had purchased the vehicle as a carrier, a command post, an ambulance, or a logistics platform. Australia was specifying it as a fighting vehicle. The turret was Rheinmetall's Lance, developed from the company's existing Mauser cannon family. A Block 2 upgrade, contracted separately, would add Spike LR2 anti-tank missiles and provisions for an active protection system. Rheinmetall established a military vehicle centre of excellence at Redbank in Queensland to build the majority of vehicles, committing approximately $10 billion Australian dollars of total programme value to Australian industry participation, and creating roughly 1,450 jobs. Initial deliveries of the first 25 vehicles built in Germany to the Block 1 specification occurred from 2019. Initial operating capability with the 2nd/14th Light Horse Regiment of Queensland was declared on October 15, 2022. Full operational capability remains scheduled for 2027. The programme has not been without difficulty. A 2020 report by the Australian National Audit Office found that Defence had not operated within its first-pass approval bounds and that the tendering process had reduced competition. In June 2021, Major General David Coghlan acknowledged to Senate Estimates hearings that the Block 2 turret configuration had encountered technical issues including gun jamming. An August 2024 stop payment notice over delayed Block 2 deliveries was lifted in December 2024, after an agreed contract master schedule was established. Australian procurement watchdogs noted the vehicle's tyres are manufactured exclusively in France, and that its primary ammunition is qualified from a single Rheinmetall facility in Switzerland, creating potential supply chain vulnerabilities in a high-intensity conflict. Then, something unexpected happened. The vehicle Australia had spent a decade and billions of dollars developing began flowing back to Germany. On March 21, 2024, Australia signed what was described as its largest single defence export agreement in history, more than 100 Boxer heavy weapon carriers, based directly on the Australian Combat Reconnaissance Vehicle design, to be manufactured at the Redbank facility in Queensland and delivered to the German Bundeswehr. The contract was worth approximately €2.7 billion. Germany was buying back from Australia a version of its own vehicle, redesigned by Australian engineers for Australian conditions, and now judged to be more capable than what German industry had developed independently. The technology transfer had run in reverse. This transaction had a parliamentary audience. The German Federal Court of Audit, the Bundesrechnungshof, scrutinised the arrangement, including an estimated €38,000 per vehicle in sea transport costs from Brisbane to Hamburg. The Audit Office delayed its funding submission, pushing approval into the spring 2024 Budget Committee calendar. German defence analysts noted that the Bundesrechnungshof's thoroughness, whatever its value in peacetime, was increasingly mismatched to the pace Europe needed to rearm following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which brings the Boxer to the closest thing it has to a combat record. In 2023, Germany and KNDS, the joint entity created by Krauss-Maffei Wegmann and Nexter, developed the RCH-155, a 155mm, 52 caliber howitzer, mounted in a mission module on a Boxer drive platform. The system is fully autonomous from its crew of 2. The gun can load, lay and fire without anyone leaving the armoured cab. Rate of fire is claimed at 9 rounds per minute. On January 13, 2025, German Defence Minister Boris Pistorius attended the handover of the first RCH 155 to Ukraine at the KNDS facility in Kassel. Germany had ordered 54 systems for delivery to Ukraine at a total cost of approximately €890 million. By March 2026, more than 600 Ukrainian soldiers had completed training on the system at the German artillery school in Ida Oberstein. Combat use in Ukraine has not been officially confirmed. No RCH-155 has been documented by open-source analysts as having been destroyed or captured. No footage of the system in action had been authenticated as of early 2026. What is confirmed is that the vehicle is in Ukrainian hands, that Ukrainian crews have completed full training, and that the war in eastern Ukraine continues to consume artillery ammunition at a rate that places enormous premium on a system capable of firing 9 rounds per minute from a protected cab before relocating before return fire can arrive. Compared to its direct competitors, the Boxer sits at the expensive end of a competitive market. The Patria AMV from Finland, selected by Poland, Slovakia and multiple other nations, offers genuine amphibious capability the Boxer cannot match. The Piranha 5 from MOAG, now owned by General Dynamics, is more compact and easier to transport by air. The CV-90, Sweden's tracked infantry fighting vehicle, offers heavier firepower but no wheeled mobility. The Boxer's defenders point to a different calculation, not purchase price but through-life flexibility. A single drive module, maintained across decades, can be repurposed as the operational situation evolves without replacing the vehicle. Nations that committed to the platform in 2009 are now receiving air defense variants and howitzer modules developed 15 years after the original purchase. The investment compounds. Lithuania named its Boxers Vilkas, the Lithuanian word for wolf. 88 Vilkas, each carrying a Raphael Samson turret with Spike LR anti-tank missiles, were delivered between 2017 and 2023. The United Kingdom, having spent £57 million to exit the programme in 2003, signed a contract in November 2019 to re-enter it, committing £2.3 billion for 523 vehicles, later increased to 623, to be built predominantly at facilities in Telford and Stockport. The first British-built Boxer was unveiled at the International Armoured Vehicles Conference in January 2025, the army that Britain replaced in 1945, the army that West Germany rebuilt from scratch in 1955, the army that refused to shoot across a border for 60 years and then, in 2025, activated the first permanently foreign-based German brigade since the Second World War in Lithuania to deter the same kind of threat its predecessor had once embodied. That brigade is built around Boxers. 1993, a design office in Munich, 2 engineers staring at a problem no one has solved. The vehicle they designed is too heavy for a C-130 Hercules. It cannot swim. Its price tag has lost contracts in Slovakia, Slovenia and the United States. Its most celebrated deployment involved a boiling vessel and a toilet rather than a firefight. Its production schedule slipped 5 years from the original plan. The nation that helped design it spent £57 million and then walked away, and yet it now equips 7 nations and is under evaluation by more. Its combat reconnaissance variant was designed in Australia and is being bought by Germany. Its howitzer variant is in the hands of a nation fighting the largest land war in Europe since 1945. The Boxer was never fast enough to fly to a crisis. It was expensive enough to make finance ministers wince in 4 languages. It was sophisticated enough that armies with simpler requirements found simpler answers. In Lithuania, on the border of Russia, German crews maintain their Boxers through Baltic winters, in a brigade that did not exist 2 years ago. In Queensland, Australian engineers are building German vehicles on a production line that would not exist without an Australian programme that almost collapsed under the weight of its own ambition. In Ukraine, the platform's descendants are pointing east. It was not the vehicle anyone wanted to pay for. It was the vehicle the alliance ended up needing. That is not luck. That is what happens when an architecture is correct.